Hello, I hope you're having a fabulous day. I want to rant. I was walking and looking at my phone, as one usually does. Open LinkedIn, which I do once in a while. LinkedIn is one of those platforms. I'm like, LinkedIn is not my platform. LinkedIn is a little bit cringy to me. LinkedIn feels a little bit like... How do I say this in a way that's not mean? It's a lot of people who feel like they have to make themselves look cooler and better than they actually are. And I read this little LinkedIn post. It rubbed me the wrong way. It was from an IT guy about fashion. He didn't really... I did my little check and he didn't really look like a fashion guy. And he talked about Shein and how it's this amazing like way of the future of shopping. And I'm just like, you're an IT man talking to me? Self-proclaimed fashion girly about fashion. And the comments were all positive, which pissed me off the most. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have the right to speak on this. Everyone has the right to speak about whatever they want. I will read said post for you and we will discuss as we go along. I copy this to my notes because obviously that's what we always do. And I titled my note, "When Tech Nerds Get Involved in Fashion." I was so angry. Okay, let me read and then we discuss as we go along. You think Shein is just another fast fashion company, but really, they are one of the biggest technology companies you've never truly understood. Here are 3 things that this Chinese-owned fashion giant did to be worth more than H&M and Zara combined. First off, Shein uses its own company proprietary tools along with Google Trends to figure out what styles are trending through search and social media. Social trends generate hype before the item has even been produced by Shein. Can we not? This is incredibly smart, is it? It's giving me the ick. Then their products leverage that hype to build more hype, but this time specifically around their brand. Shein is not a brand to me. Shein is trash. 2. They're able to track behaviors like browsing product details, the number of add to carts, and how long people spend on a particular product. As their 3,000 suppliers are given access to Shein's ERP platform, which allows them to see in real time what products are being clicked on the most, then instantly create more of those. I think this is a production machine that has to be stopped. I've never bought Shein clothing, but I've seen Shein clothing, like in the thrift shops. And it all looks like just polyester, acrylic, nylon, trash. And it will be trash after 2 times of wearing it. I think in a time where we all know that we're all over consuming and that our earth is literally crying for it, like how can this kind of a company be allowed to continue to operate? I mean, that to me is disgusting. But let's continue. And also, I don't know if this is all facts, a man wrote it. This real-time model reduces the time from design to finished product to 3 days and drastically reduces excess waste. To give some context, their nearest competitor Zara takes 5 weeks, and that's considered fast. That is fast, and I'm not sure we need faster. I don't shop Zara either because they also produce similar polyester trash, just a little bit more expensive. There's fast fashion and then there's supersonic fashion. Can we cancel supersonic fashion, please? 3rd point. Shein adds over 1,000 new styles every single day in 220 countries! Exclamation point. To put this into context, Zara adds 300 per month. In reality, Shein is really an optimization machine. Ingesting what we like, then feeding us more of that and doing it in a localized way. There is a second algorithm that weighs how deep the actions are of a user and on a site. A product which has more viewing time has a higher weighting than one which people merely clicked on for 2 seconds. This then leads to the user being shown a similar product. You and I could go on Shein, but we won't, and be shown drastically different products due to our browsing data. OMG, so cool. If this hyper-personalization pronunciation sounds very similar, it's because there's another super app launched in China which has the same thing. TikTok. Obviously, TikTok is being banned. Or I hope. I'm looking forward to the day TikTok is being banned. So I hope Shein will be banned too, thank you very much. Now he goes into a next section of this post. There is no surprise why Shein has been called the TikTok of commerce. Whether you love them or hate them, the latter. And there are many reasons to hate them. Yes, only reasons to hate them. You can't deny that they're building the future of what commerce looks like. If this is the future of commerce, then I'm never gonna shop again. Like, if this is how people will shop in the future, then call me a hater, because I am. Commerce is moving from a human design POV and moving to what the machines tell us. I think this is true, and it's sad that it's true. Because I think the beauty in fashion and in creation of garments is that human element, right? There is someone who comes up with a concept, not to mention the fact that Shein literally copies what humans have designed. It's not a rare occurrence for Shein to come out with something that's very similar to something that's been seen on a runway, where the thing has been designed by a human being, or Shein has copied something from a smaller brand, and now Shein sells a version of that thing that that small brand came up with and might be the full identity of that brand. Maybe the original sweater is a beautiful wool sweater, right? And Shein sells a cheap, ugly copy of acrylic. Shein is not a designer. Shein is a copycat. Allegedly, in my opinion. We continue reading. I believe that's generally where consumption is moving. When there is so much choice, let the algorithms decide. Criminal, offensive side eye, and that's all I'm gonna say. There will be no need for human curation. Even more important, I believe we're just at the beginning of this wave. Okay, that was everything that this man wrote. There is some truth in all of this, right? Shein is a powerful platform, right? They're a huge contributor to the garments that are sold in this world today, and probably the garments that are going into landfill and stuff. Shein produces so many things, like 1,000 styles per day. And that's not just 1,000 garments, right? 1,000 designs, and then with the backing of an algorithm that tells the production facilities that this style we should produce more of, and then they just produce more based on hype, right? I mean, I cannot even fathom how many garments that is per day, how many garments that is of cheap trash that's poured into these 220 countries per day. Like, that to me is scary. That to me is not the future of commerce, right? That to me is the beginning of the end. Literally, we cannot shop like this. If we're going to rely on cheap trash in terms of the way we dress, I think we're better off just everyone goes on a no-buy year forever, and then we just wear what we already have in our wardrobes, because that piece of Shein clothing that you're trying to buy, that will last you like 2 wears. Or maybe 5, or maybe 10 if you're lucky, right? What will happen then? Then you'll have a piece that literally is worth nothing because you've worn it out. Maybe it started to rip or whatever, or the fabric has started to lose its shape. Maybe the coloring is coming out of the garment, right? Because it's not made in a way that's meant to stand the test of time. And then you have a worthless piece of polyester. Is that what we want? Is that where e-commerce is going? Is that where the fashion space is going? I would hope not. I would hope there is a place for human curation and designs done by actual humans, right? And craftsmanship, and like, I don't know if you have the same algorithm as me, right? But I've seen these videos about There's some sort of an interview, I think it's called 60 Minutes or something, I might be wrong, but I will correct it somewhere, maybe in the description box. But I've seen these interviews with like the director of something of Hermes, right? And he's talking all about like the beauty of slowing down and focusing on perfection and stuff like that. Obviously that's taking the example to the extreme, right? Comparing Shein versus Hermes. But I think Hermes is the house that is the epitome of just creating beautiful things that will stand the test of time and that you can have literally forever, right? They make sure that they craft garments or pieces of accessories or shoes or, you know, whatever they're crafting. They make sure that that thing is perfect and that it has had the space to take time to become a perfect thing before they put it out on the floors of their stores, right? Not saying everyone has to buy everything from Hermes, but just saying the focus on creating perfect things, creating things that will stand the test of time. Sure, you will have to do maintenance on those things, but I think the more sustainable way and the only way that actually makes sense for the state our world is in is to focus on buying fewer, nicer things, right? Not focusing on creating 1,000 designs to pour out over 220 countries per day. That is ridiculous. And the thing is, when I read this post, my favorite thing when I read something is to start looking through the comments. And I expected everyone to be like, OMG, this is horrible. How are we doing this to our planet? Or like, how are we doing this to the fashion space? Like everyone was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is the future. Can you believe it? The AI is predicting what people want and then people are producing it so quickly. This is amazing. This is the future. And I was just like, are we okay? I just wanted to reply to some of them to just be like, did you read the same thing as me? Am I the outlier here? Am I the only one who doesn't understand? Like, obviously, probably most of the people who read this and who, I don't know this person, right? It's just a piece of content that I will leave anonymous, right? That I'm reading and that I'm just reacting to, right? And I'm assuming most of the people who read that are not fashion people. They're not people who appreciate beautiful garments. They're probably people who are in the AI and in the computer science or whatever space, right? And read it more from a point of we're predicting human demand with AI and pushing out products in record time, right? But I don't think this is the future and I don't think this is a desirable place for style. Now in saying this, I think a lot of brands are going this route, right, of finding what can create the most hype and just putting that out. I mean, with all Brat album, right? And the hype around Brat. Everyone had a Brat Girl summer. At first, it started out as something that was not shoppable, right? It was just about a lifestyle and a mood and a vibe. But then there came an H&M collab, right? And places like Miu Miu and whatever Kate Spade and stuff started putting out collections that were like Brat inspired. I think it's important to take a step back and look at it also from a consumer and kind of environmental perspective and not only look to what is the most applicable to go viral or what's the most likely to be the next hype item. And especially when we're putting out things that are not meant to stand the test of time. I mean, single-use plastic is being banned. Shouldn't Shein clothing, this might be a stretch, but shouldn't Shein clothing kind of be considered single-use plastic? I mean, it's plastic clothing that's meant to be used like a couple of times and then it's not meant to stand the test of time anymore. Allegedly. This is all alleged. And with this being said, I don't think it's only Shein that's the issue, right? H&M, Zara, those like usual suspects, I think are also problematic. Not to the same extent maybe as Shein, but I think we also have a problem with those kind of other brands that we deem as better quality just because they're more expensive. I mean, obviously everyone is talking about Jerf Avenue at the moment, but Jerf Avenue, like when I look at their site, most of their stuff is polyester clothing, but it's just more expensive and it's not being put out in the same pace, right? But if you're trying to sell me, okay, here we have the Forever blazer in black. black. This is made from 74% recycled polyester, 21% viscose, and 5% elastane. I can already tell you that that will not last forever. So why is it called the Forever Blazer? This is priced at 2,000 Swedish crowns. So I'm guessing somewhere around the €200 or dollar mark. That is ridiculous. That is not any better in my opinion. We're selling expensive things made of polyester. That's also a problem. The same with like the Frankie shop. I know a lot of people talk about the Frankie shop, but when I open their site and I see their blazers that are, in my opinion, pretty expensive, that are made from like, same thing, like viscose polyester blends, it's not the vibe. And also like Aritzia, because all the US girlies are talking about Aritzia, so I went over to their website just to have a little look-see. They're selling expensive things made of polyester, right? I mean, this is a common theme in fashion at the moment. Like the Naked collection with Lydia. I saw like a reel on that and she was styling it and I'm like, oh, those clothes are pretty cute. I go over to the site. Expensive polyester clothing. Why would someone want to put their name to an expensive polyester clothing piece? Like that polyester will not stand the test of time. It will lose its shape. It will not be a comfortable experience wearing it. Why are we encouraging our followers to buy 100% polyester clothing through and through? And the thing is, I don't think we can put it on the consumer to solve this problem, right? This is more of a rant. I don't have the answer. I think regulation and legislation has to solve this. I mean, when we look at Europe, we're trying to be environmentally friendly and we're trying to be in the forefront of solving all of these environmental issues, right? But in Sweden, I can still buy Shein stuff. I won't, but I can. How can that be okay? But like I said, the consumer will not solve the issue. If that stuff is offered to consumers, consumers will buy, likely, right? Unless everyone is rioting, but I don't believe in the like, everyone will fight the system. No, that will not happen. No one will fight the system. Maybe on this channel, we're trying because we're nerds in this space. But what I'm saying, Bob and Nicole, the people who don't want to think about clothes, they'll just buy something because it's there and it's easy and it's convenient, right? No offense if your name is Bob and Nicole, you might be great people, but you know, just taking a name out of thin air. And I don't think we can put this on companies to solve either, because a company at its core is there to make money. A company like Shein will always, allegedly, will always try to make the most money with the least effort. If the consumer is not asking for more, they will not give more, right? They will continue to produce at the lowest cost with the highest production rate and offer you the worst quality possible at the highest possible price, right? Shein clothing is cheap, but if you have to buy it over and over because it continuously breaks down because the quality is so bad, then it will not be cheap in the long run. Generally, I would say you can find better quality stuff at a lower price at a thrift shop, right? And I think that's way better to do versus shopping on Shein or Zara or the Frankie shop or Jerf Avenue or Naked or Aritzia or whatever, right? Buying cheap or expensive polyester clothing will never be the right option, in my humble opinion, allegedly. And I know I say it shouldn't be on the consumer, but like there has to be people buying a bunch of Shein stuff, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't continue to produce it. But what I think is so sad is that so many people just turn a blind eye. They're producing low quality clothing in a huge volume at a low price. That is not style. That is not fashion. It might be fashion, but it's not like the fashion that I think we should focus on, right? I think it's so sad that a platform like that is growing and that is thriving, especially in a time like this, where we have so many issues in the environment and in the consumer habits of people, right? I think that kind of stuff is just keeping everyone poor, right? Because if you're gonna have to buy over and over again low quality, cheap stuff, then you're just gonna remain like in that loop of constantly buying new stuff because the stuff keeps breaking down. And you're not affording to buy the higher quality stuff because the cheap stuff just keeps costing you money, right? It's keeping us poor and it's keeping us looking worse than we could, right? I think it's just a hamster wheel of negativity, honestly. And I don't think we should want to vote with our dollars or euros or Swedish crowns, right, towards that company behavior. Isn't it better if we just buy better quality stuff from somewhere else? I know some people would tell me in this discussion, right, that it's the only thing I can afford. I think in many cases, there are better quality things that you can buy in the same price range. I mean, most of the stuff I buy is pre-loved, vintage, thrifted, bought on the secondhand market, right? And you can find some beautiful things at a reasonable price. Sure, it does take more time to buy that item, right, that you go into the thrift shop or you go on the pre-loved websites and stuff like that. But then if you buy a good few pieces once and you have them for a long time, I think you are spending less money. I think you're using less resources from our earth. I think, yes, you're putting in a little bit of time and money up front, right, to get those pieces, but then that pays back in the years that you're wearing them and that you're enjoying them and you're wearing them on repeat, right? I bought this Talbot's cashmere sweater, right, for 60 euros on Vinted. That might sound like a lot, right? But a cashmere sweater is a forever piece. This looks like something that's literally 10 years old at this point. I'm literally wearing it more than I want to admit. I was gonna say a daily basis, but that's a little bit of exaggeration. But I wear this several times a week, and I have ever since I got it. And yes, I might have to debobble it once or twice, but I'm sure I will wear this for years. And those 60 euros, I'm sure I've already worn this over 60 times already. So this is currently at like €1 per wear or something like this, right? Cost per wear is powerful. We need to lean into that. Thinking in that way, girl mathing a little bit. I know girl mathing has a bad rep, but in terms of cost per wear and buying nicer quality stuff, pre-loved, because then we can buy nicer stuff at a lower price, right? I think that's a more affordable and more approachable and more sustainable way to shop in the long term. I think we have to forget the notion of buying cheap stuff quickly. I think that is a sad way forward for the space of fashion and for the space of styling. I think we can do so much better in terms of finding interesting pieces and having great signature style, right? If we just use our brains a little bit more, scroll a little bit less, and spending less time on those platforms that enable you to kind of shut your brain off and just spend money and time recklessly, right? Those sites, in my opinion, like, I'm looking forward to them being banned. Like I already said, I don't see those as quality places of entertainment or shopping or whatever. TikTok and fast fashion go hand in hand. I don't like either of them, so that is just the tea. So, I think we should stop keeping ourselves and our environment poor, honestly. I recently filmed a video with like my learnings from buying on the pre-loved market for the last 10 years. I also filmed a video about finding your signature style so that you can buy the right pieces and just have them in your wardrobe for years and years. I've also filmed a video about my best and worst purchases, right, where I talk you through my thought process on what works for my wardrobe and what doesn't. So I'll add a few videos in the cards throughout this video so that you have some resources to have a look at. I, of course, invite all of you to leave your opinions in the comments. I think this should be a discussion and not just me telling you what I think. I want to hear what you think. Now, I will love you and leave you. I'm sending you some positivity to end this video. I hope you're doing so well. I'm sending you a little virtual hug because I think we all need it right now. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a little like and subscribing to my channel for more ranty videos, but also a lot of more positive and kind of styling videos and luxury fashion and pre-loved shopping and all of that good stuff. And until my next video, stay safe, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.